It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shot.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for a Wednesday night hump day edition of the Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, True Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
What's up? Monday night, your boy got a copyright strike for playing that Red Rum instrumental in the background. And it said, Drew, we went from almost 1,000 views on that Ryan Garcia podcast to a little over 100. So if you can watch the replay, make sure you hit that thumbs up and watch that replay, because it said that, Drew. It said we're restricted in many parts of the country as well as international. So fuck. Yeah, well, fuck that. All right, G, tonight is our vertical stream. YouTube is obviously pushing vertical on all content creators. The TikTok ban, or the forced sale of TikTok, is upon us. They've basically, the Senate and I think the House, they both agreed and sent the bill to Joe Biden. So we'll, Joe Biden signed the TikTok for sale ban. Either way, tons of people from TikTok will be coming over to YouTube, which is why they are pushing this vertical on us. They are trying to get that younger generation. And obviously, speaking of the younger generation, Drew, Ryan Garcia is now the face of Gen Z boxing. Is he the face of all boxing or just Gen Z boxing?
Nah, he's not the face of boxing. He really isn't, because if people are going to look at it like this fight did not do really that well on pay-per-view buys.
All right. Well, what has Drew Evo read today? I've read back and forth people on boxing Twitter giving some numbers, and I never know what to fucking believe, because obviously Oscar's only going to put out the numbers if they're great, right? And I have a feeling that they're going to be good, above average, good. I think they obviously did a really good job of marketing the fight to the younger generation, but it's getting increasingly harder to get people to pony up and pay for pay-per-views. For reals, it's hard to get people to actually pay for pay-per-views, because obviously there's just so many ways to watch boxing. And of course, people are going to shame you for having a Fire Stick or watching it at a friend's house where everybody, there's just too many ways to watch boxing now, which is why today we're doing a special edition, because a lot of people have pay-per-view burnout. And here we are with, Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, is now bringing Riyadh season to America. And I'm bitter again because Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fought in New York City, Drew, and this fight is not coming to the fight capital of the world, but it is coming to the entertainment capital, Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? It's going straight to LA, Drew, and it's like the card is so bananas. I can't believe we talked that we would be waiting for this major announcement. We thought it was just going to be Terrence Crawford and Matchroom, an unknown Eastern European fighter who snatched up an interim WBO title or whatever. What title is that at 154?
Actually, it's legitimate. It's the legitimate championship, IBF championship, I think.
Let's see here. Let me just see. It says WBO interim. I thought Fundora had got that when he beat Tim Tszyu. And then I had read this week that they're going to give Fundora until December 31 to defend that title.
I look at it like this. Whoever wins this fight is probably going to be elevated to full champion because they're going to figure out a reason not to really defend that title off PBC. But if you don't look at it, let's get to the point about this. If you look at this undercard,
and
PBC fighters.
What's that?
It's at least 3 or 4 of the biggest PBC fighters on that card.
Yeah, I'm going to put that graphic up in just a moment, Drew. We already got a shout out from El Pachuco. Shout out to you, Veronica. Walk with Rhonda was up here. Make sure you guys hit that like button because it'll get us out there to that vertical crowd. Even if they swipe for a second, they might end up being a subscriber. El Pachuco wants to know, what do you guys think about Madrimov? And I'll go first, Drew. I've only seen that fight highlight from the Saudi Arabia fight where he was on the undercard and won that belt by a spectacular knockout finish. He only has 10 pro fights and a huge international amateur pedigree. The kind that, you see from people like Lomachenko and whatnot. He has tons of amateur experience. But Drew, he's going up against Terrence Crawford, who's already won championships and multiple. I do not see him being able, as big of a puncher as he is, to be a threat against Terrence Bud Crawford. His boxing IQ is extraordinary. If people keep arguing, well, if Devin Haney wasn't the Floyd Mayweather, guys, the closest thing, even better, we have in our current generation is Terrence Bud Crawford. We don't need to keep comparing who is the next young Mayweather when we have Terrence Bud Crawford right now. I don't see how this guy overcomes the athleticism and the outstanding ring IQ that Terrence Crawford possesses and the veteran experience. He's up for it. I mean, we saw Terrence fight a big puncher before, right, Drew? What was his name? Mean Machine?
Yeah.
He got rocked. Terrence got rocked in that one. It was about the closest time we've ever seen him to be rocked. But I think he's going to win this interim title, which sets him up. Wow. Let's look at this. Drew, what do you think of Madrimov?
I saw a couple of his fights. I'm really impressed. He has an IQ, boxing IQ, matches his power and everything. Is it something that it's maybe too soon with Terrence Crawford? Could be, but you can't, you got a big payday winning that title. You probably get another big payday again because, look at it like this, Dave. Turkish actually gave all these fighters so far that fought on his cards the best paydays, and it's most likely mostly all these fighters on this card is going to have the best paydays. They're going to make at least $1 million.
Yeah, and 100% true. And shout out to Deontay Wilder that joins the Shoe Shine podcast. He says, shout out to the Eagles. Drew, that one is for you. And we talk about heavyweights. Obviously, the Saudis have been a big participant in bringing back heavyweight boxing internationally. And although Deontay Wilder is not on this card, Deontay Wilder will be fighting for the Saudis, and he left PBC. Drew, this is kind of something that I know that you wanted to rant on. Right now, you just mentioned that this is going to be the biggest payday of many of these fighters. This is unbelievable to me because we just we're out here in Las Vegas. I live here, Drew, and we just saw Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora in a fight of the year front runner, in my opinion. And Tim Tszyu obviously wants that rematch with Fundora. And out of nowhere, obviously, Tim's probably got his eye on only fighting two people. And that's the rematch with Fundora and Terrence Bud Crawford. Fighting Virgil Ortiz, he said, would be an honor. Obviously, he respects him very highly. But Virgil Ortiz brings nothing to the table, Drew. That he doesn't have a title at 154. So I'm scratching my head. How did they build this super card? This is the most amazing card of the summer. And it features Tim Tszyu. Drew, I don't even know where they're going to place this Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz fight because that literally is a pay-per-view. If you guys didn't want to buy Tim Tszyu versus Thurman, and you had a trouble buying Tim Tszyu versus Fundora, you probably would pay to see him fight Virgil Ortiz, because Virgil Ortiz has quite the fan base, Drew. They made it happen, Drew. I don't know what kind of money Tim Tszyu is going to make. This has to be his biggest payday.
You know what? I look at this and be honest with you, I think PBC lost all these guys. I think they were given opportunities and say, hey, you're not active. You're not making money off them. Come fight on here. I will guarantee you get the biggest purse you ever make and possibly get you a big bet and get you on here more and possibly get you signed to one of these DAZN promoters that will make you active and make you money. And you could possibly be on another one of these real season cards. So let's look at it. There are 5 known PBC fighters on this card. So is this really them saying they're no longer signed with PBC? Because this is telling me that they're no longer signed with PBC because PBC would not allow them to do this.
Or they're not exclusive, and maybe that they're just going to have some type of advisor role from the great Al Heyman, who will just strictly be advising them. This is incredible, guys, because look, we've got PBC working with fighters from Golden Boy Boxing here and Matchroom. I mean, this card is crazy. We got Andy Ruiz representing Matchroom, the 135-pound gold medalist. Andy Ruiz, shout out to Philly. Deontay Wilder gave you a shout out and the Eagles, Drew, but Andy Cruz is training in Philadelphia. What you got to say about that?
Hey, I guess he wanted an American trainer. I guess he wanted someone that would actually bring out more of something to him. But it's working so far. And I look at it like this, that Andy Cruz is showing, because Andy Cruz is becoming more of a guy that's trying to stop somebody now, not trying to box somebody to a decision. Like, if he gets to a decision, he gets to a decision, but he's boxing his way to try to knock somebody out now.
Yeah, I'm surprised Andy Cruz is developing like he did. I had fears he would be like a Shakur Stevenson type fighter with not, but he's actually become very aggressive, and I'm liking that. He'll be fighting Antonio Moran out of Mexico. That's a damn good, interesting fight. Obviously, Andy Cruz is on a fast track. And as far as Cubans, David Morrell abandoning his WB 168-pound title, Drew, a minor title, secondary title. Nonetheless, he's fighting Hot Rod. Hot Rod is a guy who's looked sensational on Pro Box. And shout out to everybody that watches Pro Box. I see you guys. I wasn't chatting tonight, but I see y'all, and Pro Box is consistently putting out great things. David Morrell moving up to 175 to fight Hot Rod. Drew, this is a big freaking deal because David Morrell is a kind of main event fighter. He's a guy that everybody thinks has a great chance at beating Canelo Alvarez, and now he's gone. He ain't going to sit around and wait, man. He smells smoke, and he's ready. He's fired, Drew. He's going up to 175. David Benavidez is joining him at 175, and those two guys are on a collision course to try to snatch up some of those titles, Drew. What do we have? Speaking of Riyadh, we got 5 versus 5, which will be the unification between Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, Drew, and obviously David Morrell has got his eyes on that, but he's going to have some stiff competition, man. I think this guy is going to give him some work. That in itself is great, Drew. I see our boy Nando saying, I don't care what anybody says, Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz is the best fight. It is a main event. It is a pay-per-view type fight. I agree, and I think it should be, man, I think that should be the co-main. I don't know.
It probably is going to be the co-main. Like, I can't see them having Isaac versus El Wayo as the co-main, because El Wayo isn't really, let's tell you the truth, El Wayo lost twice already.
He got knocked out by the guy Shakur Stevenson, stunk up the place with one of the worst fights ever. What was his name? De Los Santos, the Dominican fighter. He got into a firefight with De Los Santos. You guys remember, De Los Santos get cracked. De Los Santos got into a toe-to-toe fight with Rayo, who is a power puncher himself, and he lost. He got knocked out. I mean, this is the kind of fight. This worries me for him. I really like Jose El Rayo Valenzuela. He's a good kid. But if he comes with that approach to the Isaac Cruz, it could be trouble for him. He better have a couple of game plans.
No, I'm already predicting knockout. Isaac Cruz by knockout. I don't give El Rayo a chance at all to beat Isaac Cruz. Like, he's not going to be able to take that pressure. And he's not going to be able to take that constant pressure. And he's going to get caught eventually on those punches. And, like, Isaac got power for a short guy. And El Rayo is moving up for 135. So
right, this will be his first fight, like you said. And they said, I was listening to an interview today at the press conference he did. He said he was training for De Los Santos rematch, actually, at 135. And he absolutely, without any hesitation, jumped on the opportunity to fight Isaac Cruz. What do you guys think about Isaac Cruz now that he's fighting so quickly, Drew? This is someone that Ryan Garcia has in his radar. He wants this fight with Isaac Cruz, obviously, because to me, come on, bro, he looks at Isaac Cruz as a natural lightweight, 135-pound fighter that he can have a tremendous advantage over and get a belt. But the question is, would you even fuck with Ryan Garcia and sign a deal to fight with him, knowing now that he doesn't give a shit about weight class or coming in on weight? You say you are Isaac Cruz, you hold the WBC 140-pound title. You're going to come in on weight because Isaac Cruz is the champion. He has to make weight or he loses his title on the scales. It happened to David Benavidez. He lost the WBC title on the scales. Knowing that Ryan Garcia don't give a shit, would you sign a contract to fight him?
Not really. Like, I look at it like this. You moved up to you're probably going to be 147 fighter now. There's no excuse for you to you can't make 147 and everything. Like, why the hell am I gonna fight you then? Like, I need ranking here. I need some fucking ranking to beat you and everything. I'm getting paid to beat you, but I'm also want to move up in a rank. And if you move up in rate or we're doing a catch rate, it doesn't do shit for me and everything. But I look at it like this. There are 5 PBC fighters, and they are all about to fight on their zone. This is something Heyman never wanted, and it's happening. And it's like you have Pitbull Cruz, you have Tim Sue on there, Andy Ruiz, and David Morrell with Rayo. Rayo is not that big is not a big loss. Isaac Cruz is because he amounts the Mexican audience. He does have a following. Tim Sue, that international thing. Andy Ruiz, first Mexican heavyweight champion. David Morrell, a future star in this business, in this sport, actually. It's really. And then I'm hearing, like, I'm also hearing Leo Santa Cruz and Aguilera is on this card.
Nando Lamos just put that up there. And I did see that they tried to sneak this in. Guys, these are not the only fights. This shit is stacked, dude. I think they're going to try to start this around 1 p.m., which is not traditional in Vegas. Fights typically start at 4 p.m. in Las Vegas. But they're thinking of starting this card at 1 o'clock West Coast time in California. And I did see Abner Mares, bad eye and all, coming back with Leo Santa Cruz, appears to be on this card. It is stacked with Mexican-American and Mexicans, and it is ripe for a sellout crowd. I can't even imagine what these tickets, once they go on sale, what they're going to go for. You got Jose El Rayo Valenzuela from representing Sinaloa. Guys, I agree with you. He is a beast. I thought he had a good shot at potentially being a title holder at 135. 140 pounds is a whole new dynamic. Will he carry Pop up there? Will he fight Isaac Cruz smart? Will he fight him? Will he box him? Will he try to keep him at the end of his range? Or will he get sucked into one of those fights like where he did with De Los Santos and get knocked out? Because he does fight with emotion at times and gets away from his game plan. I'm worried about him on that end. Virgil Ortiz, huge Mexican-American star, huge following in Texas, obviously. He's going to be fighting this weekend in Fresno, dog. In Fresno, he's going to be fighting Drew. You mentioned Andy Ruiz, obviously the first Mexican-American heavyweight champion. Antonio Moran, and you just also mentioned that Leo Santa Cruz is going to be on there. Bunch of Mexican fighters, man. Shame this is not going to be in Las Vegas.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you right now my predictions. Everybody on the left side. I'm picking everybody on the left side.
It's a little, Drew, this parlay is going to be the most fun you can have in a parlay when it comes time to betting. Once this thing gets going, this is going to be a parlay to have. But I thought we would get into this weekend's card too as well and run over that because you could do a parlay easily this weekend. Nando just mentioned he's going to Fresno, man. So shout out to you, Nando, for enjoying this. I want to see how many people Jose Ramirez can still draw.
But you know what, Dave? Not to cut you off. You know that fucking PBC also lost Gary Russell.
I just saw that Gary Russell is moving up to 130 pounds. He's going to be fighting. Is he fighting on this card?
No, I don't know, but he said he already signed.
No.
He left PBC to sign a deal with Matchroom.
Gary Russell is fighting on the David Benavidez Tank Davis at 130 pounds.
Gary Antron Russell said he left the PBC.
So which one am I thinking about? His brother, the 140-pound fighter?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. That dude, he wasn't getting fights at 140. That Brandon Lee guy was getting more fights.
He signed a deal with Matchroom.
So, shout out to Marta Ramirez, somebody new in our chat. Appreciate you being in here. Yeah, this is the Super Fight August in Los Angeles. I see shout out to my cousin Primo's in the house. Sergio Fernandez says he likes this new view. So that's the first thumbs up here for Vertical Drew. Don't forget to hit that like button. It makes us go out to the YouTube universe. Yeah, I appreciate each and every one. We're talking about Riyadh season, the first card by His Excellency, bringing this stack card. This shit is the kind of thing you would see. Basically, Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz is a fight that everybody wants to see that follows that division. Everybody that's a hardcore boxing fan knows that these are the two biggest punchers at 154 pounds. Even though they haven't fought, here they are. They're going to fight, Drew. And you said we're talking about money. We're talking about how much money is involved. There's no belt. Like, I would think Tim Tszyu, the only thing he gives a shit about is getting his title back from Sebastian Fundora. He could, at the end of this, have 2 losses in 2024. A very bad year. This is dangerous. This is a dangerous opponent.
But you know what, Dave? I'm going to be honest. I will probably I'll probably bet this too. I think Tim Tszyu wins this by stoppage.
Drew putting it out there early for all those people who say Drew hates on Tim Tszyu. Drew could very well be, because here's what I'm concerned about with Virgil Ortiz, guys. And we're going to see Virgil Ortiz back. I saw him in January. He had taken that very long, extensive break because of that illness he had, that rare blood disorder. It sidelined him for over a year, guys. And he never came back to welterweight division. He had a horrible time making weight. Remember that, Drew? Stanionis got fucked. Stanionis got sidelined almost for a year, waiting for his shot at Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz now fights at 154, and I only saw him fight for 1 round in Las Vegas. That's all it lasted, was 1 round, Drew. He knocks out, let's just say this. I'm expecting him to stop Thomas Dulorme, the Puerto Rican fighter, this weekend. Thomas Dulorme, I've never seen him fight at 154. At best, his best days were a French contender at 147 pounds, Drew. He has to knock this guy out, but he needs rounds because Tim Tszyu has fought. You made a damn good, Drew. Tim Tszyu could beat him. Tim Tszyu's resume at 154 includes former champion Harrison. All right, Harrison was no scrub. Harrison's the only guy to ever defeat Jermell Charlo aside from Canelo Alvarez. That's a tremendous former champion on his resume. Then he fights Brian Mendoza, a top 5 contender who's fought everybody as well at 154. He's fighting legitimate 154 pounders. Virgil Ortiz is fighting scrubs or guys that fought a welterweight. He hasn't fought at nobody at 154. And then he has a fight of the year death type match, the kind of shit you see in wrestling with razor blades, bro. He goes 12 rounds with Sebastian Fundora, also one of the biggest beasts of 154. I don't see Virgil Ortiz having the experience, but
I look at it. The best guy Virgil Ortiz fought was Michael McKinson, the guy that went rounds with him, but he wound up stopping at the end. And I think that pure boxer, I think that's the best guy that he fought on his resume. Like, do we see him actually getting rounds in? I don't know. That's one thing, like Nando said, he needs his rounds. Because, like, if this gets to the deep waters with Tim Tszyu, I'm actually picking Tim Tszyu to knock the stoppage.
Nando's got to throw a dig at your boy. Virgil has a much better resume than Boots, even with the time off. Well, let me see. Boots has got that former champion that's going to be on Pro Box next week. He does have a former world champion.
Nando can't read a resume if it slaps him in the back of his head.
Oh shit! All right, we got some other exciting fights. I'm excited to finally see the return of Andy Ruiz, and I saw Jarrell Miller last in that Saudi fight. He looked absolutely horrible. Jarrell Miller, like, I think they picked the right guy for Andy Ruiz. Jarrell Miller can't even move at that weight class. Andy Ruiz was looking pretty stocky, pretty chubby, to be honest, in today's press conference. I think that's the right guy. Andy Ruiz still has the fast hands and the foot movement. I think this is a great fight for him to get back into.
I got a nickname for that fight. King Kong versus Donkey Kong.
David Morrell, obviously now moving up to the 175-pound division, and Andy Cruz, a lightweight. This is a fantastic card. So, Drew, you pretty much say you're going to pick everybody on the left. That includes Terrence Crawford, Isaac Cruz, Tim Tszyu, the winner, Andy Ruiz, David Morrell wins, and Andy Cruz. That's some shit, Drew. Is this intentional? Is that intentional, what they did on this poster?
Hey, I look at it, man, and I was looking at it earlier. I'm like, oh, these guys on the left side are going to win. Here's the thing. I don't think the Isaac El fight lasts 7 rounds. I think he gets a stoppage. I think Tim Tszyu stops Virgil Ortiz in 10. I think Terrence gets the stoppage in 10. Big Baby Miller, I'm going to be honest, that's going to be going to decision. I think that Andy Ruiz hasn't fought in like 2 years.
Yeah.
You don't even know what Andy Ruiz you're getting yet, but Big Baby Miller, he just really out of shape. He really, I don't understand what's his prerogative with being in this kind of shape and fighting and everything. Like, it's not helping him. Your power's not coming out because the way that your punches are, it's not, your power's not generating enough in those punches. It's like Butterbean a little bit, but Butterbean could get the punches off a little bit, but I haven't seen Jarrell Big Baby Mill able to do it. So I look at it, I can see Big Baby possibly getting knocked out if Andy Ruiz comes in very serious and determined. But I don't know, like, he's getting another payday, Big Baby Miller. Hopefully he don't get arrested in Miami again.
Drew, I think they're looking for, as we approach the 5-on-5, which I believe is the one that's got Deontay Wilder on the card. Let me just see if the 5-on-5 coming up in June. I think that has Deontay Wilder. I think they're setting it up for Andy Ruiz to get back in there with Deontay Wilder, a fight that has eluded us.
Well, Deontay's only signed with one fight with Matchroom. It's on a one fight basis to see if he's worth signing to a multi-fight contract. And then they're going to see, and then the thing about it is, Eddie isn't, they're going to see if Eddie can sign Haney Ruiz, depending on how this goes and everything. These are possibly guys that could sign with Eddie or could sign with Frank Warren. That could probably sign with Golden Boy, Eddie of the DAZN, or probably be an exclusive We Are Season fighter. And say, hey, I'll fight exclusively for you guys on DAZN and everything. Like, I don't care. I think Turkish wouldn't mind promoting. He is promoting, but I don't think he wouldn't mind having a stable and working with these two multiple promoters. He's branching over to the United States. I look at this card. I think this card does like 550 to 600,000 pay-per-view buys.
Really, domestically, you think that's all it'll do?
I think domestically is all it would do, but I think that with I think it's going to be a really cheaper pay-per-view than $80.
That's crazy. The value in that.
It might be 40. It might be 40. If it's at 40 and it does like 550 to 600,000 with a great gate, it makes money. And DAZN, I think DAZN will be pleased with it. And I think with Turkish, I think the point was, I think he wanted them as cheap as possible to have people be able to more affordably buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because he I think he was they had an interview with him one time. He's like, I'm not trying to put in $80 pay-per-views.
Well, he's doing that in itself is a great service to boxing fans right here in America. Straight up. I mean, that really is. That'd be a shock. Nando says that stadium about to be sold out almost immediately. And I think even on the secondary market, once that thing sells out, that secondary market is going to do very well. This is the biggest event. He says it could fit 25,000 people in there. That thing will sell out. I'm excited to see how fast it sells out. I'm just excited that this card is going to happen. Now, everything hinges on that fight with Tim Zudru. We don't know about Virgil Ortiz. He has to come out victorious here in April, and then he's got to stay healthy. You know, what if that rhombosis mysterious disease comes back and resurfaces? In itself, that's a great fight, but we'll always be concerned about that.
Yeah, that's always going to be a concern. Hopefully he's at the right weight, that it won't be that much of a concern. But I look at it like this. It's possibly the best card of the year.
Yeah, Drew, today I was reading something about Eddie Hearn, and, you know, obviously he has big plans for Jerome Boots Ennis, your boy out of Philly. They really, really want to secure a fight with Terrence Bud Crawford. One, obviously Terrence Crawford is going to be dropping all his titles at 147, but I think it's a disservice. Eddie Hearn is doing him a disservice if he does not put all his attention into fighting Ryan Garcia. Let's just be frank. Ryan Garcia is the biggest welterweight star out there. He has no title. He's not even fought a welterweight. But this weekend just changed everything. He literally is the biggest welterweight star in the U.S. And Boots Ennis, his manager, his team, his promoter, Eddie Hearn, needs to do everything he can to secure a fight and manipulate and work Oscar and get that boy Ryan Garcia in a title fight. Title fight. Come on, Ryan. Titles mean something. Bragging rights mean something.
I look at it like this. They'll plan on having Boots' next fight in Philly.
And that's going to be, and I'm very happy to hear that. That's going to be, I saw the purse, Drew, and he's going to be making how much? The purse was made?
A little over $3 million.
And who won that bid?
Matchroom did. Eddie Hearn did. That's why he went and told Boots, hey, I'll sign you and I'll win your post bid. The make sure
and people money. Were kind of upset. Shout out to Cody Crowley out of Las Vegas. Cody Crowley's been on a very long, lengthy interview. Go check that interview out on Chicano Prophet, friend of the show here. Chicano Prophet interviewed Cody Crowley extensively. That dude is a trip. He's a very spiritual guy, a very interesting person, and you guys should go see that. I think he's getting kind of a little bit of a shaft. What was the split? Like 15% for Cody Crawley. Cody Crawley lived in his car, Drew. So it's like people will be like, take the money and shut up. It's a title fight. But bro, when you spend your whole life for this one moment and you're only making a few $100,000?
500,000 is making.
And you got to pay taxes on that too. Like, thank God he lives in Nevada and is a Nevada state resident where we don't pay state income taxes. But still, that fight's only going to, it's like, how long will that go over the course of 2 or 3 years with inflation?
I look at it like this, Dave. I think if Cody, I think Eddie could give him a promotional deal, and say, hey, I can keep you active. I can make you money.
Most definitely. You need contenders like that. You need guys like that can be opponents. If he doesn't come, he's not going to win this fight against Boots, but he can give a hell of a fight. Yeah, against solid people.
Yeah, and everything. I can have you fight 2 or 3 times a year, making at least 500,000, and keeping you and making you able to live on,
if he's even remotely, if he is remotely competitive against Boots and actually goes the distance against Boots, now all of a sudden, Drew, you make a great point. Now he can become somebody that Eddie Hearn can sign and say, hey, Ryan, you need to fight somebody at 147. This guy just went the distance with Boots. Everybody wants to see you fight somebody that Boots has fought. Can you knock out Cody Crawley? I'll bring him to the table.
The first part of it is, has Crawley left PBC? The thing is that Crawley is going to take the fight, so it's most likely he's going against the advice of Al Heyman and his people, and he's betting on himself. And
good for him.
To potentially nail a potential promotion contract over at DAZN with one of the DAZN promoters and everything. And I think that I look at it that it could possibly benefit him taking this fight, win or lose, taking this fight, because if he does somewhat have a good showing in this fight, even if he gets knocked out or stopped, and if he has some of a good showing, I believe they'll put him back on and say, yo, you can, there's room here for you, and you can make some money here and keep you active. Because one thing Cody Crawley asked for was to keep active. Pete put me in fights. I need to make money. I want to get up there on the rankings and everything. And PBC has failed him on both of them. And so, yeah, look at it like that.
Yeah, even Staniosis was extremely inactive. He's going to finally get his opportunity, Staniosis, to fight again on the May 4th card, the undercard of the Canelo Alvarez. Excited to see him back in there. Obviously, Mario Barrios is a PBC fighter too, Drew. He's on that May 4th card, another welterweight that I wouldn't mind seeing mix it up. He says he's down to fight Boots too. So eventually, at some point, to see Boots, who's now over with Matchroom, fighting a PBC fighter, it's going to take probably Turkish, His Excellency, to get involved to make these kind of fights. Obviously, to get those people to cross over and fight, it's like the big money has to be put up.
But you look at it like this, I think, like, guys like, Boots now is going over to Matchroom, well, that he's going to make on a minimum purse of $3 million. He's going to get that minimum purse now, and he's going to fight more than once a year now, most likely, on this thing with Eddie. So multi-fight agreement, I think Eddie will have him in there at least twice this year, maybe twice and 3 times next year at that. So you look at it like this. If we're going to look at it, I think it benefits Cody to maybe get in there, show them what you got and everything, and get a contract at least. And I think he can, but if we look at it like this, guys that have been with PBC for so long, that have been going through this, when they saw this, with PBC and Showtime ending and everything, they had to really think about what the future holds. Because number one, I'm still not gonna be fighting more than once a year. Two, they may put me on some bullshit card and I'm not gonna make money like that. Like, so some of these guys already have figured out ways how to get out of their contract. Or with their contract expiring, they elected not to resign with PBC. PBC, if you look at this, PBC is losing their fighters. And to tell you the truth, they have to bank on Tank Davis, Canelo Alvarez to be able to bring the numbers in, because it's most likely now you lost Tim Tszyu, you lost Isaac Cruz, you lost Andy Ruiz, you lost Deontay Wilder. What else are you able to do? Like, they're going to look at it and say, hey, we're not able to sell shit. We're going to have, like, and Al Haim is not going to try to work around with promoters like Eddie Hearn and them. He's already worked, he did with Oscar and everything, but that was for the good, like, for a term, let's get the Haney Garcia fighting and everything. Mm-hmm. But now that that's out the window, they are working with Golden Boy and bringing Hyman in here in the fight Canelo in. But what are you going to do after that? Who's he going to fight after that? Like, seriously.
You talking about Canelo?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, he's fighting Edgar Berlanga. I'm all but guaranteed that he's fighting.
I really doubt that, Dave, because if you look at it, he's a matchroom fighter. I don't think Al Haymon wants to work with Eddie Hearn. And here's the thing. If they have a post bid, I think Al Haymon will do anything to win that post bid.
Yeah, but Canelo's still fond of Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, to make sure that he has full control over that fight and everything.
Drew, I gotta read Nando's comment because he says that Cinco de Mayo undercard sucks, and I.
Oh yes, it fucking sucks.
The Cinco de Mayo card. The only way that card gets interesting is with the Riyadh season coming to America. What we like so much about that is that all those fights are risky, particularly with the bigger names like Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz is so 50-50, and it could be a huge step backwards for both of their careers, even a bigger step backwards for Tim Tszyu, who just lost his title. There is no threat anywhere on that Cinco de Mayo card. Like, Mario Barrios is fighting a very unknown fighter, okay? And Mario Barrios has name recognition. Then you have Stanionis, who is arguably a top 5 welterweight. He's also not fighting anybody that's a real threat to him. Stanionis should be fighting Mario Barrios. Then it's an interesting co-main. Also, they punished someone in my eyes that is a great 154-pound contender. Jesus Ramos Jr. is nowhere to be seen on that card. And he's also not to be seen on the announced fight between David Benavidez fighting in June with Tank Davis. A super fight holding two. He's not on that either. Are they going to let go of Jesus Ramos Jr.? I would love to know. You're talking about they're losing fighters, bro. They are. I'm not even seeing some of their better fighters fighting on these cards that are going to be featured on Amazon. This Amazon deal feels like it's just about to bust.
I look at it like this, Dave. I just see how bad this is, and it's a bad undercard. It's a really bad undercard. And the thing about it is, people are saying, "Oh, how can you not like this undercard? You got Barrios and Stanionis fighting on it, but they're not fighting each other."
That's arguably some of the better fighters at PBC at welterweight. So you're right. Why aren't they fighting each other? The other people are starting to have promotional companies are having their best fight each other. That's what we need to see.
But you want to know why they're not fighting each other? Because Stanionis is not signed to PBC.
So he has the same boots. He got the same boots problem that Boots had over there.
So here's the thing. Stanionis isn't fighting Barrios because they don't want to put a non-PBC guy in there that can beat
against Mario,
their champion. Because tell you the truth, I'm picking Stanionis to beat Mario Barrios.
I think a lot of people would probably agree with you. It'd be a great fight, but it ain't happening. It's not happening, unfortunately. We brought up Tank Davis really quickly, Drew, and I gotta admit, bro, I've been sucked into all the drama between Floyd Mayweather and Bill Haney over the past 2 days. Bill Haney getting into a heated exchange with Floyd Mayweather on IG Live, and of course Tank Davis was brought up. And Bill Haney, according to him, told Floyd that we're not. Floyd said, "Are we enemies now or what?" You know, because he said we just hung out in Miami, we were good, and all of a sudden it's like we're enemies and whatnot. Bill Haney has a legitimate bone to pick with Floyd Mayweather, dude, because Floyd Mayweather really pulled some fucked up shit on Bill Haney and Devin over the course of the Ryan Garcia buildup. First of all, I live here in Las Vegas now, and Ryan Garcia was being mentored and advised unofficially by Floyd. They went running in the hills of Summerlin, and Floyd tried to impart some business sense into that young boy, Ryan Garcia. And Ryan Garcia picked up on some very, very good business advice he had to have. And then that tape got leaked of Tank Davis doing a number on Devin Haney, an embarrassing tape. A one-sided tape. They say it's a very long tape, but it only really showed Tank Davis beating the shit out of a young Devin Haney, Drew. Bill Haney got a lot of reasons to be mad. That's one of them. That was embarrassing as hell. But also it's alleged Ryan Garcia is now coming out saying, I took the advice of Floyd when Floyd told me just fuck the 3 pounds. Just blow the 3 pounds. Fuck it. Come in overweight and have an advantage. That's something that, we've seen Floyd do in his career is take advantage of weight in his matches. All right. He probably did get that advice from Floyd to just blow off the weight intentionally. Never even really, according to Ryan, he probably never even intended to make that weight. He always intended to have that advantage. But why is Bill Haney going after Floyd Mayweather's parenting skills and after his children? Like, where I think Bill Haney fucked up, Drew, if you got a problem with Floyd, you might as well have just addressed what the issues were, why you got a problem with him, because it seemed kind of silly to be talking about Floyd's parenting, his children and this and that. And it's like, I don't know, man. I think a lot of people were saying Bill took Floyd to town in that argument, but I think the opposite. I think, man, you should have just laid it out on the table what your beef is with Floyd.
You know what, Dave? Someone just gave me a piece of paper about the numbers to that pay-per-view fight. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get that paper.
I won't even say, shout out to Sin City Syndicate. I won't even say what he just said, but obviously you heard the interview. Bill Haney loves to use the N-word, and he loves to talk about the streets. But to be honest, come on, Bill. Are you really on East 14th Street in Oakland? Are you really walking the streets of East 14th Street? I mean, you and your son Devin have a very privileged life. And and I know you should consider yourself lucky that you have such a privileged life living here in Las Vegas. You've done some great things. You've done some great things. They talked a lot about taking losses. Floyd said he never has taken an L in real life or something to that. And Bill made a point that everybody takes losses in life. Okay, well, right now you guys are taking the biggest loss of Team Haney ever. And you're just going to have to rebuild. Just rebuild off of whatever mistakes were made. And I don't see why, like, from what I understand, Floyd said, let's take this shit off the air and call me. And for Bill to say, nah, we could do it right here. Come on, bro. A lot of that shit could be done privately. It could have been done privately and not even brought up people's children into it. But you know what? Boxing is a soap opera. And Drew and I had to come on here on this vertical stream tonight and at least put our 2 cents in, because everybody's talking about Bill Haney versus motherfuckers are getting thousands of views just basically posting up that Instagram back and forth between Floyd. Drew, like, I don't know why I'm not doing it. We should be doing a commentary on those videos too. All right, Drew, what you got for us? You got them numbers?
there, my person gave me a letter telling me that the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight only did 235K.
Man, that's awful. That's like Gervonta. I mean, hey, Floyd thinks Gervonta's a pay-per-view star. That's like bottom of the barrel Gervonta Tank Davis numbers against kind of a scrub fighter. You know what I mean? Not that he's fought scrubs lately, but Frank Martin, in my opinion, kind of is one. 200,000 is awful. And it really, like, it doesn't make sense to me because Ryan's going around telling everybody he's the face of boxing now. He's saying nobody knows who Tank is. Nobody outside of the U.S. knows who Tank is. And according to Ryan, he is beloved internationally. Everybody knows him. He can go to Asia. He can go to the Philippines. He can go to Thailand. He can go here. He can go there. And everybody knows who he is. So how do you come up with 200,000 pay-per-view number?
I'll be honest with you. It's disappointing because it also shows that Devin Haney's not a draw either.
Oh, clearly not. His pay-per-view numbers were horrible. Even though he sold that place out in San Francisco, those pay-per-views against Regis Prograis were awful, which just brings us back to why do we even have pay-per-views? Thank God this Riyadh season in Los Angeles is going to be $40, $50 probably. Like, that's a fucking value. That people will pay for that. When you start putting these $80 price tags and you wonder why the pay-per-views are so poor.
I just seen that. I couldn't see it beat over 300,000. I just don't see it. I just think a lot of people don't really consider Ryan as a face of boxing, not even close of it, and everything. And I think if you're the face of boxing,
you got to do $1 million.
Yeah, you actually should try to go for belts and everything.
Yeah. And shout out to Gail Falkenthal, guys, one of my favorite writers. Please make sure you subscribe to her here on YouTube and check out her great columns on nyfights.com. I always look forward to her wrap up of who won the weekend, so make sure you guys go and check that out. Well, Drew, I don't know what those numbers are. I'm very excited to see. I wonder if journalists like Gail, if they get privy to those actual factual numbers. But when we talk about the face of boxing, in the 90s, when it was Oscar De La Hoya's era, 2000s, it was $1 million. Like, you had to be doing $1 million, like, to be the face of boxing. You know, Floyd Mayweather numbers, Oscar De La Hoya numbers, $1 million. Then you're the real face of boxing. Is anybody going to do $1 million these days? Or have we entered a new era?
Like, they did $1 million together, but tell you the truth,
that's right.
They did $1 million by themselves.
Tank and Ryan did $1 million. They're the last people to do so. So is it just not the right dance partner? Devin Haney doesn't have that fan base?
I think a lot of it has to do with Ryan ruining the promotion of this fight with his antics. I think ruining
or making it exciting. So you're going to have people on the other end of the aisle saying that.
Here's the thing. It cost this promotion a lot of money. It really did, and I think people have to admit this. Ryan cost a lot of people a lot of money.
Sin City Syndicate says 500,000 is the new $1 million pay-per-view due to streaming. That's like saying 40 is the new 20, right? Yeah, 500,000 may very well be with all the different various ways people can watch things without paying, including Fire Sticks and file sharing and whatnot. Maybe it is. Maybe that is just the new normal in the sport of boxing. And Ryan can justify that. He still is the new face of boxing, but that's an argument. That's definitely arguable that he's the face of boxing.
If you look at it, you know, DAZN, when they first came, said, the pay-per-view market's dead to us and everything, and it would never go to pay-per-view. And then they make that bullshit lie up. And they keep raising prices of subscription and everything. Like, people gotta look at it. Like, DAZN isn't what it used to be because people were canceled. A lot of people canceled their subscriptions. Because
I did something even dumber, Drew. I had the original when DAZN first came out. We had a friend of the show who was from. You remember that guy Vargas from Toronto? That was the very first fight with Amir Khan on DAZN, and they sent me that hookup price for $9.99 to join DAZN, and I was grandfathered in, and I blew off an email. There was an email that came through and it said, hey, the grandfather thing, you're going to have to sign this extension, blah, 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 fill this out, and you can keep paying $9.99. Well, I didn't read that email. And it jumped to then it went to $19.99, or Lord knows what I'm paying now, but it's coming out of my credit card, Drew. So I'm the fool on that one, right? I could have still been paying $9.99. You're right. The value is starting to shrink on the DAZN stuff, especially now with the Saudis entering the market and putting on these pay-per-views. It's like you still have to pay to see fights, you know, and the whole just the DAZN was, hey, you're gonna get all this. You're gonna get Canelo Alvarez for free. For the small $9.99, you're going to get Canelo. You're not going to pay for pay-per-views. Well, boy, that didn't turn out to be a reality, right? All right.
Like, it's just crazy how these numbers are. Like, I look at it. If anybody sees this, that it's just a hard thing for boxing nowadays. But it doesn't help when the fighters or promoters don't want to make certain fights happen and everything. But, like, it's even worse when a fighter sabotages it. So,
well, let's get into this weekend, Drew. We're approaching the full hour here, and we didn't get to talk about it. I'm not sure what happened to Drew's camera again. Guys, this April 27th, I know Nando in the chat saying he's going to the Fresno, California card. It's going to be on DAZN, a Golden Boy card featuring, of course, Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, Fresno's hero out of Avino, California. He's fighting Rancis Barthelemy. Kind of a slick fighter, but somebody that doesn't, in my opinion, have enough power to be a real threat to Jose Ramirez. And Jose Ramirez, I'm wondering what he's fighting for. He's got a beautiful family now. He was the world champion. He lost that title two years back now, maybe 3 years back, during the pandemic to a very small crowd in Las Vegas. He lost that title against Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor already himself has lost that title to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez busted him up. I mean, just took the lineal championship away from both of these guys. Now, Josh Taylor will be fighting coming up. I see him here on the schedule. What are they fighting for at this point? You look at the landscape of the 140-pound division, and you've got some new blood. We just talked about it. Isaac Cruz will be making his first defense. He just beat Raleigh Romero for that WBA title. You have Teofimo Lopez, who beat Josh Taylor and can consider himself the lineal champion now at 140. Jose Ramirez has had an opportunity to fight Teofimo. I asked Teofimo himself, and he said the guy was offered plenty of money and was too chicken shit to fight him. I don't know. I don't know what's true. Does Jose Ramirez really want a crack at another opportunity to become a champion at 140 pounds? You have to think he's got to knock out Rancis Barthelemy. He can't just go the distance. He's got to win it in exciting fashion. He's got the pressure of performing in front of his hometown crowd. But then does he get an opportunity against one of these people? And quickly, because he's starting to be part of the older 140-pound fighters still around. He's not exactly part of the young crowd. Who do you even see him against? You see him against getting a shot at Isaac Cruz eventually, who might be the easiest person to overtake just because he's the smaller fighter. Maybe you guys don't think Isaac Cruz is a pushover. Can you see him fighting the Puerto Rican champion, Matias, who's over at DAZN now? Obviously, they are on the same side of the fence. How does he fare up on the inside fighting a fighter like that in his prime? No, I don't think so too well. Or does he make that fight with Teofimo? Teofimo is literally looking for a dance partner. He can't get a big name. Maybe now that Jose has signed to Golden Boy and left ESPN, maybe does that fight materialize? You got to wonder. Jose Ramirez also, if he wins in a spectacular fashion, he's at Golden Boy. Does he chase the big money fight? You know, he is a 140-pound fighter, but he's a big guy. Terrence Crawford. I don't know where Drew is. Drew went to the bathroom. He left me here. Stay patient, Terrence Crawford. He will be back. Ryan Garcia is the biggest star that Golden Boy has. Clearly.
I have to really.
And Jose Ramirez, if he wants to cash out, he knows where the money's at. And that's a fight with Ryan Garcia at whatever weight class Ryan Garcia deems. Agree or not disagree?
I gotta say, all these fighters want to have plays me in chat.
Oh yeah, Terrence Crawford is a big fan of the show. Deontay Wilder is a big fan of the show. Drew, you know who I think? I swear to God, somebody let me know. I think that Mario Lopez and Steve Kim are a big fan of the Shoe Shot. I'll tell you why. Because I watched their show, the 3 knockdown rule or whatever, and the day after that comes out, like, I could care less about Mario Lopez. I'm not a fan of Mario Lopez, but why does he share the exact same viewpoints as Shoe Shine?
But you
like, word for word, everything he said was exactly what I said on Monday night. Is Mario a fan of the Shoe Shine? Or do just great minds think alike?
Mario, I watched Saved by the Bell when I was younger. Gotcha.
I did too, Drew. I'm not going to lie.
Slater.
I'm not going to lie. Mario Lopez has done everything. Hollywood, boxing. It's great. He's had an incredible career. Shout out to him. No hate for the Chicano who's done it all. No hate.
Hey, what the hell's Gail saying damn it, Drew, for us? Not good to say damn it to somebody.
All right. But we're talking about this Fresno card, Drew, and I wanted to get your parlay because this is a great opportunity for a parlay, guys.
I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest about Jose Ramirez. I don't care too much for. He's a disappointment.
He's a disappointment. Why? Because he got dropped twice by Josh Taylor.
Like seriously, he could have had 2 good fights and he decided to duck them. So I really
does he take a Ryan Garcia? Listen, he wins this weekend and makes Oscar proud in Fresno in front of his home crowd. Ryan Garcia does have to take that into account. Jose Ramirez can fill 15,000 seats, maybe even 17,000 seats in Fresno, California. Does Ryan Garcia take that into account? Or does he say, nah, you're not on my level, bro. 17,000 seats in Fresno?
Time out. To whoever's making these fucking accounts, how the fuck do you guys come up with these free fucking accounts quickly?
They're the best,
now you
man.
got
I'm telling
Spence in here, man down promotions. I'm like, in Omaha, we trust.
Now, Sin City Syndicate didn't hear the Monday show to the fullest because I hedged my bet at the South Point, so I still did make some money. I just didn't bet that much. I'm not going to spend $1,000 on Ryan Garcia. Hell no. But now I'll have to reconsider that depending on who he fights. Gail says Jose Ramirez is looking for one big cash out, and he has a lot of interest outside of boxing. That being said, I don't see a bigger cash out fight than fighting Ryan Garcia. And Ryan Garcia needs to continue to beat world champions, former world champions. Having Jose Ramirez's scalp on his resume, it looks good. The guy had 2 titles at 140 pounds. He's already just beat Devin Haney in one of the biggest beatings of 20 and 24. It looks good. It looks good. I think Jose Ramirez, if you're looking to cash out, you might want to consider that Ryan Garcia fight.
I don't know. Like, I'll be honest, man. I think we're not going to see Ryan fight another 140-pounder again.
You think he's gonna legitimately fight welterweights?
I think so. Like Shakur said,
you think he's gonna fight Errol Spence? Is in our chat. Is he gonna fight Errol Spence? Because Errol Spence just left Derek James.
Well, look at it like this. Shakur said that Ryan agreed to fight him after Devin. And then Ryan's saying that there's a rumor if Ryan said if he fights Shakur Stevenson to fight an 18-foot wing and everything. So
yeah, Errol Spence Jr. It's great to have Errol Spence Jr. in the chat tonight, Drew. I think if Errol Spence is listening, he might want to consider a fight with Ryan Garcia, perhaps at a catchweight. Ryan says he's not fighting at 140 anymore. Maybe you can get him into the ring at 147, 148. Who knows?
Oh my God.
All right. Speaking of guys at 154, Errol Spence wants to move up to 154. He's not getting the rematch with Terrence Bud Crawford.
Please don't say nobody spiked your water, man.
There you have it. He said it right here exclusively. Virgil Ortiz, Drew. Let's talk about Virgil Ortiz. Obviously, he's been added to the Riyadh in Los Angeles. Virgil Ortiz versus Thomas Dulorme. Thomas Dulorme is at least a name that boxing fans know. The African fighter brought in January to give him some work, gave him no work at all. They stopped that fight in 1 round. How many rounds does Virgil Ortiz need to go to get ready for Tim Tszyu?
I don't know, man. Like, I have no clue. They're not doing nothing to benefit him, to get him ready. Like, I don't know. He needs a he. We can only hope that this guy puts up a fight.
Yeah, and the more fight he puts up, I think the worse it's going to get for him. Vergil Ortiz is such a devastating power puncher. I'd see this as a stop. I'm just going to go ahead and give my quick picks. Jose Ramirez goes 12 rounds. If it's 12-round fight, he's going the distance against Francis Bartholomew. Vergil Ortiz wins this fight in 7 rounds. 6-7 rounds.
Give him a 5.
All right, and let's get to Oscar Duarte. Oscar Duarte deserves some credit, guys, because he literally was a good-looking contender at 135 pounds. He was demolishing everybody on those DAZN undercards, and he was a real threat. People really thought, fuck, they put Ryan Garcia in against a guy that could potentially really hurt him. What we didn't know, Drew, was that this 135-pound fighter was going to be asked to go all the way up to 143, 8 pounds away from where he naturally fought. Ryan Garcia did not fight at 140 when he fought Oscar Duarte. After the Tank Davis fight, he came in at 143, 8 pounds higher than what Duarte was accustomed to fighting. And when Duarte tasted the power of Ryan Garcia, he didn't fight like the Oscar Duarte that I had been speaking so highly of, Drew. He basically turned into Devin Haney himself. He was trying to take control of the fight, but after he really tasted the power, he was like, I could get hurt in here. So he was extremely cautious. And it literally kind of panned out the same way. Oscar Duarte got dropped, I think, 7th or 8th round TKO. When Ryan Garcia pressed on the gas, it was too much power for Oscar Duarte. Oscar Duarte now has an opportunity to fight somebody at 140 in Jojo Diaz, who is completely washed up. This has to be Jojo Diaz's retirement fight. I saw Jojo Diaz's last fight. It was on a Thursday night recently on Golden Boy on YouTube. And Drew, this Mexican guy, took Jojo Diaz to school. And this guy was, this guy's skill set was very, very limited for Mexico. And he made Jojo Diaz work like it was a title, the biggest fight of his life. Jojo Diaz really, in my opinion, this has to be the end of the road for him. He's getting stopped. He's going to get stopped by Oscar Duarte.
I gotta say, god damn, we have an argument between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford.
Right here, would you make sure you screenshot that? Everybody make sure you screenshot that because it took place right here on Shoe Shine's vertical Wednesday night stream.
We got the rematch in the chat.
We got the rematch right here. They're going back and forth. I love that. We need that social media. So post that up, screenshot that, and let's put it on Instagram and Twitter or X's. Drew, give me your picks. It's a 3-fight parlay. There is also, I have to give shout out to Marlena Esparza. There is a title fight. Marlena Esparza is the WBC, WBA, and WBO flyweight title. Wow, 3 titles on the line versus Gabriela Alanes. I've never heard of her, but it is a 10-round fight for all those titles.
I don't think Jose gets a decision. I think Vergil gets a 5th-round stoppage. I think Duarte, I think he wins a decision against Jojo Diaz.
Damn. You don't think you think Jojo Diaz can survive? Okay.
Yeah. And Esparza is born. She's a born fighter. I think she wins, but it's a born fight.
All right, I'm reading. I may have read this wrong, but it says Oscar Duarte versus Jojo Diaz on ESPN is a lightweight fight. So that favors Oscar Duarte moving back down to 135. Jojo Diaz comes in heavy. I will not be surprised if on Friday Jojo Diaz comes in over. Knowing that he's, what we just saw between Ryan Garcia, I can see Jojo Diaz coming in well overweight, whatever weight class they've agreed on, and Oscar Duarte is just going to accept it because he needs a big name on his resume, and he's already fought Ryan Garcia, so I definitely don't think he's going to be afraid of any kind of power Jojo Diaz is bringing to the table.
I'll be honest, don't be surprised if Jojo gets pulled out.
at the last minute. I'll be eagerly awaiting. We're already at Wednesday. I just expect him to come in a bit heavy. I don't think his heart is in it anymore. And if he gets hurt by Oscar Duarte, that might just be his way out the business, you know? Okay, Marlena Esparza, shout out to Gail. She says that she wins, but it most likely will be a snoozer. And it's not going to be any snoozers coming up on that Netflix card. Drew, we talked about that. The Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano rematch. I don't think that's going to be a snoozer.
Nah, it's not. And tell you the truth, I think that it was right for that fight to be made. Amanda Serrano, with her experiments of 3-round fights, trying to be snoozers. Like, she didn't really look too good in them and everything. The fights were just boring. Like, she tried to say, oh, the longer the rounds, the more chance for a knockout. It did not prove her theory. She could not knock out none of these girls. Didn't even come close of it. So she probably stopped. Like, the last person she stopped was Heather Hardy, but that was a 2-minute rounds. So, like, I just look at it as in you had to get this rematch had to happen, or else who else you're gonna have to fight? You're gonna have to fight Scott Nicholson if you didn't fight Katie Taylor. And I think that was one fight she was trying to avoid.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Drew. She just fought here in Las Vegas, and she can't get the attention of Amanda Serrano at all. And she definitely is worthy of that fight. And for Nicholson, she'll probably have to elevate her, her whole worth to the public to get the attention of Amanda Serrano to make that fight happen. You know, it's like all these great young fighters chasing Canelo Alvarez, not being able to get his attention. But Drew, we're wrapping it up now. It's 9:00. It's midnight on the East Coast. I appreciate everybody knows Drew's out there in Philly, and he's got to go to work tomorrow, Drew. But Drew, I want to give you an opportunity now. It's been days since the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney fight now. And do you have any new thoughts on it?
Tell you the truth, Devin Haney lost to a bum, flat out bum. And I think what I said on Monday, his ceiling's at 140. I don't think he does anything at 147. I don't think he has the power to keep somebody off from at 147. And I'll be honest, I think that he came in as the number one guy at 140. He's potentially not the number 4 guy, because I say that Matias knocks him out. I think Teofimo stops him. I think Isaac Cruz is probably the only guy I can see him beating. If anybody looks at this, you probably see the rest of the exposed Devin Haney. And I think they rely too much on the tactics that they known for doing. They try to, I think that Bill Haney bit off more he can chew when he was coming at Bernard. Bernard got the last laugh, and I think Bill Haney now has to have that same energy that his son lost. His son literally got his ass kicked and got a broken jaw out of it, most likely. And what can you say? Devin went on there and said, hey, I'll come get a rematch. I would not want to see a rematch. I don't think Devin Haney, once Ryan knew that Devin couldn't hurt him, it was only a matter of time before Ryan will get to him. And because I said this, if Ryan takes boxing seriously, I believe that they will have to turn him into a legit pressure fighter with hand speed and a left hook. I think that's Ryan's best chance of being something in the sport. He's not a pure boxer. Work on his footwork and become a better pressure fighter. That is what Ryan Garcia has to be.
He would finish people even faster, Drew, because I'll admit, man, I can't stand to watch Ryan fight off the ropes. I get so annoyed watching him. I think a lot of people feel the same way with his rope-a-dope tactics and turning his back and the shoulder roll.
Like, his skill set makes him the best suit him as a pressure fighter. And I think he really has to take it that way, that, hey, you got the skill set of a pressure fighter. Let's improve his footwork a little bit and make you that pressure fighter, a guy that can get the stoppages. Like, I think if Ryan takes this sport seriously, Ryan can really become a pound for pound good fighter. But I don't think he takes it seriously enough. And it should make Devin feel a lot worse because he lost to a guy that's a bum and did not take the sport seriously. And literally got his ass kicked, and he got beat by the most basic punch in boxing, a left hook. And he got no fit all night. So
a lethal left hook, Drew. I just want to say now it's been almost it's approaching 5 or 6. What is it now? 5 days since that Saturday fight. And hindsight is always something else, right? So for Devin Haney, Drew, hopefully his jaw isn't broken and he can come back and defend his title against Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin, someone that really gave Teofimo Lopez a hell of a fight. And after he gets his confidence back on a win against somebody like Sandor Martin, what happened? Oh, wow, Martin. Well, thank you. So I knew Mario Lopez would come up in here. Big fan of the show too, as well, Mario. It'd be a pleasure to have you on the Shoe Shine on Monday night. We can get all the people on the screen. That's fantastic. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? All right, I'm going to cook here, Mario. This one's for Mario. Devin Haney needs to beat Sandor Martin and defend his title. And when he regains his confidence, Drew, he must unify that title. He's got to go for... If I was his advisor, I would suggest he try to unify with Pitbull Cruz. He really probably can't make 140 for much longer. Obviously, he wishes he could have come in overweight at 143. He needs to defend the title and try to unify to save his legacy, to save his worth in the future Hall of Fame ballots. He needs to unify that 140 title and then bail and go to 147 and pray that one of those belts is vacated by Terrence Bud Crawford. It becomes an easy opportunity for you to go and get the vacant WBC title or whatever it is. And hopefully you didn't break your jaw and you can do this all in 2024 by the end of December. Fight Sandor Martin, regain your confidence, try to unify, and then see if you can compete at welterweight in 20. Because, Drew, I'm starting to feel like Devin Haney may not ever be a world champion at welterweight. Unless he gets an easy opportunity at a vacated belt, like Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner got a lot of opportunities with vacated belts. Then we could potentially be talking about a rematch with Ryan Garcia. Only then could we talk about a rematch with Ryan Garcia. The way things look like right now, as far as Ryan Garcia, Drew, I'm kind of upset about the whole thing because what we have now is a superstar that the rules don't apply to him. They just don't. Everything that's great about boxing, going for world titles, people strive to be world title champions. They don't matter to him. And because of that, he's writing his own rules, and he's going to force that upon anybody that wants to get in the ring. Like, honestly, if you sign a contract with him, do you honestly expect him to meet those expectations on at the weigh-in or press week? He's not. He's going to do what benefits him.
It's coward shit, man.
And if you want to fight him, it's going to be strictly about the money. That's why I say, Jose Ramirez, if you win this weekend, if you're looking for a big payday, take the fight with Ryan Garcia at whatever weight class it is, and then move on with your life and have a great life the rest of your life moving on, because that's obviously a huge payday. Anybody that does business with Ryan Garcia is going to run the risk. Ryan Garcia is writing his own rules now. Now, is he the face of boxing? Not with Canelo Alvarez still in business. He hasn't passed off that mantle. You're not the face of boxing yet. Could you be? Yeah, you might be able to convince me with another upset. You upset Boots Ennis at 147 in 2024, and you've got a strong argument to be the face of boxing. Hey, I'm Dave in the 702. This has been the Shoe Shine Wednesday Hump Day edition, Drew. It's been a great show, man. Any final words?
God damn it.
All right, man. We'll see you guys next Monday night on the Shoe Shine, back at its regular hour at 7:30 p.m. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.